Hello there. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I want to say a big welcome to all of you who are joining us online. We are really looking forward to this evening, and I'm delighted to introduce Kathryn Purcell to you. Kathryn is the lady in the middle of the screen, and Ruth is at the other side. She's going to be interpreting for us tonight. So first of all, we're just going to have a few questions really to just introduce who Kathryn is, and then we'll get kicked off. But first of all, just by way of introduction, tonight will be about mental well-being and how we safeguard our mental well-being, especially at this difficult time. So if you do have any questions, please do put them in the comments section. We'll try our best to answer as many as possible, but it might obviously not be possible to answer them all. The other thing just to remind you of would be this evening isn't the place for sort of very personal questions. If you have any of those, it would be best for you to contact me directly. We have a mobile number that will come at the bottom of the screen, and you can use that to contact us directly, and we'll try and find the right support or services that you may need. Tonight is really, hopefully, an opportunity for us to share and learn together and feel encouraged through what can be quite a difficult time for some of us. So I'd like to start and introduce Kathryn now. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, Kathryn?
Yeah, I can. First of all, I just want to say thank you so much for having me this evening. It's a real privilege. I believe it is Deaf Awareness Week as well at the moment. I'd seen online.
It is.
So I feel very like an honoured guest. So I'm so pleased to come on and have a chat about mental health with you guys. So my name's Kathryn Purcell. I'm a counsellor and a psychotherapist. And I am also an associate pastor at CFC in Belfast. So I am married and I have 3 little kids. Yeah. I have Abraham is 7. I have Theo, who is 4. And I have a little baby, Frida Jean, who has just turned 1 year old. So you'll be really glad to know that tonight I've come into a very quiet office. There's no one else here, but I wanted to make sure that we didn't get interrupted.
Perfect. Ideal. Kathryn, would you be able to tell us a little bit more about what you do? You mentioned there that you are a counsellor and you're a psychotherapist as well as an associate pastor at CFC. Can you tell us a little bit more about that, please?
Yeah, of course. So I guess in my role as counsellor and psychotherapist, that is something I have been doing for nearly 20 years now. I started off my counselling training at Queen's University in Belfast, and my first counselling placement was actually with Childline. So that was a really different counselling experience than what I do now, because it was all telephone based, so really unusual. Sometimes could be very emotional topics coming up, children and young people accessing help. And then sometimes there's a little bit of joking that went on those phone lines too, So you never knew what you were going to get. And I think probably that was a really good training for me in terms of counselling people one-to-one. And it's that you never know what you're going to get. People can maybe say they're coming for one thing, and before long, whenever we're talking or whenever maybe they trust me a little bit more, we begin to realize that there's maybe other stuff, other different things going on for them. So it's a really, really interesting job. Like, it's something I believe that it's more than a job. It feels like something, that I was almost called to do. So starting off at Childline let me know I really wanted to do this. I wanted to train more. I wanted to learn more about it. I wanted to be able to be really professional and wise about how I did that particular job. So I went on from there and did a lot more training So now I guess what I would say is I mostly work with adults. And I have begun to focus in my more specialised training in pretty much a lot in the area of trauma, and people who have experienced maybe traumatic events, or that can be like a massive thing. It can be a huge event like a car accident or something, but trauma can sometimes also be maybe something that you or I might not get too bothered by, but one person maybe could get really distressed. So trauma can come in many different forms, from really big things to smaller things. And I really, really enjoy working with people, and supporting them to move away from feeling that sense of trauma in their body or in their heart or in their emotions, and helping them to be able to deal with that in a really healthy way, and to be able to, I guess, to learn from it and to move on. So what I do now in Anchor is I also did some specialist training in counselling children and young people. I've done little pieces of training in counselling women who've experienced birth trauma, and sometimes we get dads in too for that. And I've done little bits and pieces of training in couples therapy too. So now I see mainly adults and young people, and I work in Anchor, and Anchor is the CFC's counselling branch, really. We are situated separately to CFC, and anyone can access us. You don't need to go to church at all. You can do, of course, but you don't need to. Everyone is welcome here. And there are very few issues that we don't deal with. And they would mainly be addiction things. So there's more specialised services for that. But other than that, pretty much doors open. So I manage a team. We have at the moment probably around 14 therapists who are working for us as volunteer counsellors. Each of them would see in and around 3 clients per week. And I myself also, I hold a small caseload. And I'm a part-time worker at Anchor and CFC. And I also have a small private clinic in which people, quite often it's like this actually, we do a lot of online stuff at the moment, of course. And that's how I work. I don't know, does that help, Adam? Does that answer? Do you feel you have a good idea of what I do now?
Yes, definitely. That was awesome. It's so many things. You've achieved a lot, and you clearly have a wealth of experience. So we really appreciate that you're here with us this evening to be able to, share with some of the experiences you have had with us. And I'm sure counselling must be very challenging at times, but working every day with such a range of people and people who have clearly been through some very difficult things at times, but very, very interesting hearing about that. So thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem.
So as you know, at the minute, we are in lockdown. Everyone has been told to stay at home. And the message is to stay at home and not go out and about. Now, naturally, with lockdown, that may pose challenges for people's mental well-being and mental health. I was wondering, would you be able to talk to us a little bit about some of the ways which we could cope with that, or some advice or tips you might have?
Yeah, of course, I would love to. It's maybe, I think it's probably relevant to say that even before coronavirus hit, and even before lockdown, Northern Ireland as a nation already probably suffers approximately 25% higher rate mental health issues than other areas of the UK. And in fact, we probably have much more significant mental health problems here than many other areas in the world. I think that can be traced to many very obvious factors. We come from a nation which has struggled with a lot of conflict and civil war. And so that the downside of that is that we have higher mental health issue levels. I guess for me, I also though believe there is a plus side to that, which is that here you have a real richness of therapists. We have great research going on about mental health here as well. You know, we have people who are really focused in on working with trauma, on supporting people to promote good mental health all the time. So I think that we are also in a really privileged position, and in a position that perhaps one day might even help other nations and other areas that have significant or similar issues. So that was the first thing. But yeah, I think COVID probably for a lot of people perhaps has highlighted or magnified things that were maybe already going on for them. So if you were somebody who perhaps already might suffer a little bit from low mood, you know, dips in mood, maybe you struggle a little bit with anxiety or stress or something like that. And then, of course, we have this massive global situation. You know, we've got this thing that none of us have experienced before in our lifetime. It comes along, and I suppose for all of us, that has immediately meant really significant changes. You know, and that can be in and around our movements, where we're allowed to go, what we're allowed to do, who we are allowed to speak with or spend time with. So I believe absolutely that COVID has probably had a significant, you know, impact on many people's mental health. But the good news is there are loads of really positive factors that are actually, they're pretty simple, but they're also really powerful. And if we practice them regularly, they can help to support. I almost look at them as like, you know, like a set of foundations. And so if you have foundations for a house or something like that, if you have several really strong foundations underneath that house, the chance is it's really, really secure and it's not going to sink. And even if one of those foundations were to give way or to crumble or perhaps come under attack somehow, we have other things there that can support the whole thing, the whole situation, you know. And that is what some of these tools that I'm going to speak to you about are like. They are like foundations. The more you practice them, the stronger they will get. So the first thing I guess I wanted to mention, and this is something that can be really, really supportive in helping to have, you know, a calm, constant mood, and that is routine. Create a really healthy routine that works for you. I think that for many of us at the moment, you know, maybe you don't need to go into work at the moment. For a lot of us, we don't need to go into work anymore. Maybe your working day now is more spread out, because you're having to use technology in a different way. You're maybe doing a lot more, I don't know, Zoom, online stuff. And for some folk, I guess that means that the routine is almost like out the window. You know, you don't need to get up at the same time. You can eat whenever you want. You can go and get as many coffees, you know. And so what I would firstly encourage you to do, get into a routine that works for you. Get into something that feels healthy and that feels supportive for you. That could be that you make a decision that every day you're going to get up at a particular time. You will have breakfast by a set time. You're going to work for a number of hours, then you'll have a break. So that would be my first thing. Create routine. I think what is really important to underline, every routine for everyone at the moment, male, female, whatever, it needs to include a little piece of time every single day for some element of self-care. That's super important right now, and it's something that we need to be a little bit more intentional about, I believe. Okay, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in a moment. So we'll move on. Actually, I'm talking about it now. Let's just talk about it now. So self-care. So whenever I talk about self-care, I think sometimes some people can be like, oh, self-care, you know, means I went to the shops and I bought, you know, an outfit that I wanted, or, oh yeah, you know, I had a bubble bath. And those things can be part of self-care, but real self-care is putting in daily practices that support your emotional and mental health. Okay, that's real self-care. So for some of you, that might be taking time out to very deliberately relax in like a hot bath or something like that. For some of us at the moment, if you're experiencing low mood, if you have been experiencing anxiety, self-care for you right now might look like promising that you will shower every day. It might look like promising that you're going to get out of your pajamas or your, you know, loungewear, and you're going to make, you know, some sort of effort to change into something different during the daytime. For some of you, self-care may look like trying to be really intentional about eating well, and you'll know yourself what foods suit you and what suit your body. For some of you, it may be, I guess, it's not to feel stressful about it, but it is to build in something every day that nourishes you, that nourishes your soul. That might be taking 20 minutes to listen to, you go online, you start looking at, say, a book that you love, you start reading, you start having to think about every day getting outside. You want to experience a little bit of fresh air, you want to do something. So that is sort of what self-care, I would say, for me in the first instance, is about nourishing your soul. And if you've had to, I guess, change your habits really dramatically because of lockdown, Adam, I don't know, I was talking to Owen Crane about this. We were talking a little bit about some of the habits that we might have had before lockdown that really helped us. So he talked about his journey to work was almost like a bit of self-care, because he would have put on like a podcast in the car. And that was how he sort of got ready for the day ahead. And obviously with this scenario, he no longer has this journey to work anymore. And so he was experiencing, he almost felt like he was out of bed and then straight to work. And it's like, where's my buffer? So I just want to encourage you, if your thing, I know some of you guys are really into like CrossFit and stuff like that. And obviously you can't go to your gym. But make time for exercise then in a way that you're able to do in COVID. If the thing that you really loved doing was getting to the beach and you're no longer able to do that, well then be really intentional about getting outside and maybe sitting with your feet in the grass if you're able to get to some grass. Allow yourself to just look at the sun. Do you know what I mean? Like, replace the stuff you loved before with a little bit of an alternative. Be creative about it, but be thoughtful about it. It sort of moves on really.
Definitely, that's really useful, Kathryn. Thank you.
Yeah.
I actually just wanted to ask, just on that point.
Yeah.
Some people will have struggles with eating.
Yeah.
And with routine changing at the minute.
Yeah.
With being stuck in the house at times.
Yeah.
That might sort of amplify that to some extent. Now, some people actually might at this stage struggle in particular with overeating. It might be different for every people, but so much temptation in the house. Do you have any tips for that? How do we be mindful of having a healthy diet at a time like this?
Yeah, well, I think I think there's probably two things to this. The first thing I would say is, I think at the moment, and another one of my points was about giving yourself a little bit of grace in this time, because it's so unusual. A lot of us feel like we're out of comfort zones. A lot of us are experiencing, loss of some kind. Maybe there is a family member that you can't see. Maybe you are grieving the loss of you maybe had a holiday booked or something. I don't know. So I guess for me, there's a little bit of being graceful with yourself. Because if we're at home and we're almost a bit like, I can't have this, or I can't do that, and it can almost begin to feel like you're punishing yourself a little bit, And there's so many, I've noticed a lot of jokes online, I think, as well, about this sort of, COVID, it's called, obviously, this illness called COVID-19. And then I keep seeing all these jokes online about, I'm gaining the COVID-19, in terms of putting on weight. And I guess for me, I'm a wee bit like, do you know what? Sometimes at the moment, people just need to eat a biscuit and it needs to be okay. So I'm not saying I think that you should, make yourself ill through overeating. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is trust your body. And at the moment, perhaps your body needs a little bit of comfort. That's okay. But be mindful about it. Eat when you're hungry, but stop when you're full. And that's what we would call intentional eating. And that would be very different than dieting. It would be really different than any sort of restrictive thing. But if you can be really intentional about it and treat it as an act of self-care, put stuff in that is good for you. And whenever I say it's good for you, I mean that it should also feel like it was good for you tomorrow, whenever you look back. Does that make sense? I find this, for some people, that can be a really good way for them of knowing about what's actually good for them. If it feels good at the time, but you feel terrible an hour later or a day later, when you look back at it, probably wasn't good for you, actually. But if it's something that was good for you, it felt okay then, and the next day you're like, yeah, you know, I needed that, and actually it felt like comfort, and it's okay because, you know, today I feel fine, then that's a good indicator that it was what you needed at that time. In terms of, I guess, I think, Adam, you were probably touching on as well, like a bit like eating disorder stuff. And that, I guess that is a different thing. And that probably is quite tricky for some folk who perhaps have some level maybe of like an obsessive compulsive disorder, or some type of eating disorder. Yes, at the moment, the whole COVID thing can be a bit triggering for folk with that. What I would encourage folk to do is to be very, very gentle with yourself. If that's you, if that's something that you really struggle with, just be really gentle with yourself. Try and be kind to yourself. Try and be really kind to your body. And try and go back to, I guess, the programs or the habits which have helped you in the past. What helped you to feel more relaxed around, whether it was hand washing or whether it was eating, what helped you feel like you could be more kind to yourself. And I encourage you, go back to think about those practices and begin to just build them in again. Be really gentle, be really careful, and seek help if you feel like things have become out of hand. Yeah.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, very good answer. Very good advice. We've got some questions. Here, would it be okay if I can pick a few questions out of the comments to share with you?
Ruth, I can't hear you.
Oh, really? Can you hear me now? Adam, can you hear me, Kathryn? Oh dear, the sound's gone.
I can't tell what has happened. I'm so sorry. I can't hear you, Ruth. The volume's working, I think.
Oh, hold on.
Oh, my mic is I'm muted.
Can you hear now? No.
Let me see.
Any joy? I'll just keep speaking.
So helping people with mental issues with social distance. So is that about like loneliness, or is that around helping them to maintain distance? How can we help people? Okay. It's really hard to meet people. Yeah, I see that. So I'm thinking about maybe about loneliness or something like that. So I think probably I can see Kelly, I can see your comment now. Yeah, okay. So I think that one of the things for us to do is we have to be really deliberate about our connections with other people. And so we can't meet up with folk, as Kelly's rightly pointed out. We can't just, call round or bump into people. And so what I'd really encourage you to do, if you're somebody that has friends like that or works with people like that, or if you are that person, if you're that person that maybe struggles a little bit with feeling isolated or on your own, you need to be really deliberate about maintaining your connections, okay? And what I mean by that is it's not just enough to sort of, I guess, randomly text folk back and forth. I don't think it's enough to just sort of do like the odd WhatsApp and stuff. I think you need to very deliberately schedule time to connect really intentionally together. So what I mean by that is you need to actually say, hey, could we FaceTime later? And could we do that at say 7:30? Can we do it for half an hour? And almost make it as if you guys were, meeting up at a coffee shop or something. You have this time booked in. You're together. It's just the two of you, you've both deliberately sat down, have the conversation. So I think if you can do it like that, it means that you're not just relying on the odd text or the odd wee message here and there. It almost feels like you've set aside time, and you're really deliberately investing in your connection with the other person. So it's that emotional investment that will help to support other folk. So Kelly, I hope that helps. I guess for me as well, I've been trying to be probably a little bit more thoughtful too, so I'm trying to look at things like perhaps maybe sending the odd card again, snail mail. Who thought we'd be doing that again? But I'm trying to think about other ways of connecting with people meaningfully, even if I can't see them, physically. So that might be, for me at the moment, I've sent a few cards and things like that. But I think mainly it's the thing about actually really intentionally scheduling time in to be with somebody, even if you aren't in the same room, you're still intentionally being with them for a set amount of time and your focus is on them. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. Okay.
Kathryn.
Yeah, Heather, I see Heather sent through a question too. Yeah, an increase in mental health lockdown and how can I help to others? Awesome question. That's amazing. So I guess my first thing about that would be.
Sorry.
Oh, me?
Sorry, Kathryn. Just on that, I'm just going to sign the question so everybody else knows what it is as well. So Heather's question was, do you think mental illness is increasing through lockdown? Mental health difficulties, and if so, why?
So interestingly, is it okay to talk now? Yeah.
Yeah.
3 minutes till clap for carers. Yeah. You guys, your questions are too good. You've taken me too long, What I would say is, in terms of mental health issues, there has been a little increase in terms of some people are experiencing a bit more stress, a bit more anxiety, maybe mood is an issue. Interestingly, a big thing that we are seeing an issue with is in and around addictive behaviours. So they have been more evident because people are a little bit more restricted in terms of being able to access the stuff that they're addicted to. So particularly like alcohol abuse maybe seems to be really increasing. And I guess folk, if you're at home, if you don't need to be, out at your work or in a normal routine, that then if it was an underlying issue, it can then increase in its intensity. So yeah, just to be really aware of habits. Try and choose really healthy things that bring goodness and nourishment to you. And be intentional about your connectivity. Be really, you need to invest in the people you care about. And something I want to do, sort of throw out there quickly if I could, and I think you guys, I can see some of this comment stream, and I think it's a really good one. But you need to, I guess, invest in moments of joy. Moments of joy and moments of gratitude. So we've got Mr. Daniel Voss on the comments here saying that you need to start practicing lip reading, etc. as a joke. Have a laugh, take those moments. Be just, connect with people, but don't take it all too seriously. Try and really take a bit of time just to have a giggle, That's number one. But number two, I guess, think about what you are thankful for. But I would really encourage you, the things that you're thinking about, do it every single day. Try and list down 2 or 3 things that you're thankful for. Try and do it daily. Try and just be really intentional about increasing that, because studies have proven that an attitude of gratitude can significantly increase your mental health and well-being overall.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you so much, Kathryn. Yes, it's 8 o'clock now, so we'll just take a little pause to clap for our carers, clap for the key workers, who are helping us so much at this time. So we'll just do that on. That's okay. Okay. Brilliant. So yes, that is an important thing that we do every week, to clap for the key workers who are helping us so much. Kathryn, are you able to hear at the minute? No, not yet. Okay, that's okay. I'll carry on. I think that is most of our questions answered now. I'll just text Kathryn this to let her know, since she isn't able to hear. Oh. So we're nearly finished now. Kathryn, is there anything you would like to say?
I guess something that I wanted to share, and maybe Adam will share it on the Facebook feed, was that I had sourced a couple of text services, which are for folk who are maybe struggling with mental health. So maybe if you feel like you wanted to connect with another agency or speak to somebody, and you're not sure that you actually want to go to counselling, or you don't maybe want to go all the way, but there are a couple of numbers that I found that people can text actually, and you can have a text conversation. And so if that's useful, I will share those with Adam. And I guess the final thing that I wanted to say is, if you feel like you're really significantly struggling and you're concerned about yourself, or if you're somebody who has, good friends or people that you connect in with and you're really worried about them, I would probably just say encourage them to connect in either with their GP or with a friend who would contact a GP for them. But it's really important to share. If you're feeling very low emotionally, it's important to share it with a safe person. What I always say is share it with somebody you trust, and yeah. Adam, if you receive any more questions sort of after this, I'm so happy to respond to them. You can sort of send a message to somebody or something like that. So, yeah.
Great. Thank you so much. So I do want to say a big thank you, Kathryn. And thank you so much for speaking with us this evening.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Really appreciate it.
Yes, definitely. Thank you. Hopefully it's something we can maybe do in the future again. We'll be able to learn more about mental health and a little bit more about self-care as well. So I do want to just add on to the last thing Kathryn mentioned there with regard to seeking help. There are these text services available, which is brilliant. And we also have Interpreter Now at the minute. And we're able to use that service to contact the NHS 111 via video call. You are also able to connect to HSC, the Health and Social Care Board, with your own doctor using this service via video call. You can do that online or using an app. So I think that is us finished now. The final thing would be to say, if you would like to contact us at SLC, please feel free to do so, either via our email or our mobile. So take care and keep safe, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the week and your weekend. I should as well say the SLC service will be online tomorrow evening at 7:30, and on Sunday morning we'll be joining CFC for their 10 o'clock service with the interpreters. So thank you for watching. Thank you, Kathryn, and thank you, Rick, as well, for interpreting. Brilliant. See you later. Bye.